It was the markets. Don't listen to the politicians. New pipelines will not create a boom. That's because we are in an era of flattening global demand and increasing global supply. Those are not the conditions that make the oil sands attractive for big investment. And that has nothing to do with pipelines and everything to do with the market.
So that is Ross Below from Canada, and a lot of people have wanted me to respond to this. I haven't, and it doesn't mean they haven't said this, but I haven't heard anyone say that additional pipeline capacity would create a boom in Canada. I certainly haven't said that, because pipelines don't create booms. But in this scenario, with Canada, in this scenario, it would create something else. It would create a condition where Canada extracts the most value from its natural resources, regardless if they produced more of them or not. There are many ways to create more value out of something. One of them is maybe to produce more of it if you have more of it. Another is to increase the value of what you already produce. And Ross here talks about all of the times historically that companies have abandoned Canadian oil sands during periods of low prices. And more pipelines, which would increase the value of that oil, would mean that work continues in the oil sands during low price periods because the value of that oil would be higher. It's not about producing more of it. It's about creating more value for what you already produce. It also creates an environment where you get to trade with countries all over the world. It opens up a ton of trading opportunities for other products and services around the world, not just oil. I think one way to describe this is oil and gas could be like a gateway drug for Canada's trade. Yeah. And those are the pros for pipelines. It's not about booms. It's about creating value. And there are obviously cons to this as well, right? There's pros and there's cons, and the cons are environmental. People want to be clean. People don't want oil to be spilled on their land, and that is perfectly reasonable and should be considered, right? You can't just dismiss any other people's opinions about why or why not something should occur in your country. You have a voice, use it. The point is when you use your voice, you have a good factual understanding of what the actual pros and cons are. When I talk about Canadian oil and what Canada could or could not do with their natural resources, it's to inform people in Canada of basically how this works, of how you should look at it. Canada could produce all the oil in the world, or they could produce none. It makes no difference to me. It matters to the people in Canada how they want to move forward as a country. And another thing that matters, who's going to spend the money to build it if they do? Will that come partly from the Canadian government, from the Canadian taxpayers, or will that mostly be funded by businesses in Canada? That matters. It's your money. It matters. I just believe that if you're going to be for or against something publicly, and people listen to what you say, if you're for it, it should be based on factual information, and if you're against it, it should be based on factual information, and that's what you should be communicating to the people you're talking to. And that is not what most people do. Thanks.